What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the War Sheep Podcast. Listen, we're about to dive deep into a particular topic that honestly sparked a bit of controversy the last time I spoke about it on a video, right? In regards to Judas being always forgiven. You know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. Like I said, it sparked a little bit of controversy in which I would like to address something in the comment sections that I thought was very interesting. Not only is it interesting, but it actually was raising certain accusations against me, right? Like, as far as bearing false witness or lying about certain things. So I thought I want to address it here and dive deeper into the topic in order to unveil what the truth really is in regards to relationship between Jesus and Judas. As we know that their relationship is extremely complex and it was very unique, right? Type of relationship in which honestly can only be depicted as something that is like divinely united. You get what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and dive deep into this topic because here at the Worship Podcast, we like to shed light on controversial things like this because light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and that patience creates unity. So let's get unified.
Is the sheep preaching hate? It says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop him. Do whatever you have to do to stop him. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right, y'all. Listen, we're gonna dive deep into this thing, and I promise you now, it's definitely a situation or a topic that I thought I really wouldn't have to address. I thought this was kind of like a well-known thing, but I'm learning now that we all have our own different, viewpoints in the scriptures, right? We all have our different beliefs. You know what I mean? And I don't disrespect, or I don't feel like that I need to disrespect your beliefs or where you're at currently when it comes to the scriptures and what you're gleaming from them. When you read it, what are you discerning? What are you comprehending from the Bible, like from the scriptures and what it's telling you? No disrespect out there to nobody. We all have our different beliefs, but my viewpoint is that, of course, the accusations are being levied. And so I want to address the accusations. I want to address the accusations and pose what I'm gathering from the relationship between Judas and Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Because I want to put the accusations to bed the best I possibly can. So I'm going to address it. We're going to fine tooth comb this thing, break it down to a minute decibel, okay, the best that we possibly can. And then we're going to proceed to move forward, and you guys be the judge. If I prove my case here today in regards to the scriptures, whether Judas, was ever outed or exposed by Jesus, if I prove my case here today, please hit that like button as well as drop a fire emoji in the chat room. You understand what I'm saying? Fire emoji along with a ram or a sheep. You understand what I'm saying? If you're a man, if you're a righteous alpha man, then drop a ram in the chat. If you're elegant women who's exceptional, drop a sheep in the chat and let me know that I did a great job with this. Okay. But first, we're going to get into what was said. We're going to get into what I had to say in regards to Jesus and Judas, right? And the thing that sparked a bit of controversy. What did Yashua do? When it came to the supper, right? He knew it. He washed Judas' feet. He washed his feet. He gave him a seat at the table amongst the disciples. Not only did he give him a seat at the table, right? Just check out how much forgiveness is in this man's heart. Is in the heart of Yeshua, our master, our savior, Yeshua. You understand what I'm saying? Think about it. How much forgiveness has to be in your heart for you to know that somebody's going to betray you, but yet you still wash their feet, but yet you still give them a seat at the table, but yet you still break bread with them. Then not only that, you tell everybody in the room, one of y'all are going to betray me, and you never out the individual that you know is going to betray you. You understand what I'm saying? How much forgiveness in your heart? How much forgiveness? And Judas was already forgiven of his betrayal before he even went and did the deed. Before he even went and betrayed Yeshua, before he went and told and betrayed him, he was already forgiven, y'all. He was already forgiven. Yeshua did the work all the way up until the time Judas went and betrayed him. He did the work of forgiveness that whole time. he did the work of washing Judas' feet, of breaking bread with Judas, of letting him sit at the table, of not exposing him. All the rest of the 11 disciples would have stumped Judas out. You don't think he would have? They would have murdered Judas. Judas wouldn't have been able to make it out that room if he would have outed him. But he proceeds to never out Judas, okay? But then he proceeds for the rest of the 11. He starts to call them out as to what they're going to do. Peter. All right, so we're going to dive deep into this particular topic, right? Into the shocking and misunderstood moments where in the New Testament where the disciples actually realized that Judas was the betrayer. Okay, so we're gonna dive deep into these moments. We got to take a couple of accounts and make note of them. Right? Was it at the Last Supper? Right, is the question. Okay, you guys can put it in the chat. Was it the Last Supper where they realized that Judas betrayed Jesus or Yeshua, or was it when Judas left? Right? Or was it when Judas left? Did they then realize that it was Judas who would betray Yeshua? Or was it in the garden? Right? With this, like, I guess, infamous type of kiss that took place on the cheek, that Judas came and kissed Yeshua on the cheek, or Jesus on the cheek. Was it during that time that they noticed that Judas was the betrayer? Okay. Now, this breakdown, right, is just about history, right? Trust, betrayal, and how even the people closest to you can have a dagger in their hand and to stab you in the back. Let's get into it, y'all. Now, one thing that I want to do is go over the comment that was left in regards to whatever was said. I want to go and dive deep into the comment. Let's go ahead and dive into the comment and let's see what the individual had to say about the video and what their opinion truly was. Let's get into it. Now, Matthew 26:22 through 24. ahabadanyisrael3750 had this to say. Matthew 26:22 through 24. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Now, this is him speaking. This is not the scripture speaking. He didn't really make a distinct difference, okay, as to who was saying what. He didn't make a distinct difference. This individual just kind of went on, almost as though the Bible or the book was speaking like this, okay? This is not the book. This is him saying this. So you gave your opinion and lied against a plain, clear witness from Messiah. I'm getting hung up on that comma because it's in the wrong spot. The comma shouldn't be there. Okay. Proper grammar. All right. So against a plain, clear witness from the Messiah. Okay. Let's see if you respect the word. Now, they said that I lied. They said that I gave my opinion. Okay. And I lied against a plain, clear witness. Now, we're going to make a distinction. We're going to definitely prove it here. We're going to see if I truly have lied, okay, against a clear witness. We're going to see if I truly lie, okay? We're going to go into the same account, Matthew 26. We're going to start at 26:21, okay? In order to get this account, we're going to bring more context to it and break it down, and then we're going to see if I lied truly. I think this individual may have some repenting to do. I'm not too sure. I'm going to do my best, the best that I can to present you what I know. So here's what I know. Let's go ahead and get the account of Matthew. All right. Now, Matthew 26:21. And as they did eat, he said, Verily, I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they
were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as into the Son of Man goeth as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Right? Then we go on down to 25.
Then we go on down to 25, right? 26, 25. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, Thou hast said. Now, Matthew is writing this in past tense. We can tell because he said betrayed with an ed, which is speaking past tense, not present tense or future tense. Okay, it's speaking past tense. So he's writing this after everything transpired, and he's learned that Judas was the one who betrayed. Okay, who was the betrayer. Okay, so in this whole text, we can see that this is what took place. The accounts that were established here are obvious, right? But one thing that I want to tell you is this. I want to point this out, okay, to the individual who wrote this comment, right? That it says here, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me, okay? He never actually said Judas, okay? He never mentioned Judas. He never outed Judas. He never said anything, right? Definitively pointing towards Judas. You understand what I'm telling you? Okay. Now, what I will say is this. This is what he did do. I would say, have you ever played the game? Have you ever played the game called Guess Who? Anybody ever played the board game called Guess Who? You know, anybody, right? This is Guess Who, right? This is a mystery game, okay? It's a mystery face game. You understand what I'm saying? You got to guess. You got to guess who it is, okay? Like it says here on the front of the box. It says here, is your person wearing a hat? Does your person have blue eyes, right? It's asking questions to try to guess who they're talking about, okay? Now, this is a thing as to where this is a clue type of game where you give clues, right? As to who the person is. Right? This is Guess Who. This is the board game. You give clues as to who the person is. Now, when Yashua is using language like this, let's go back over.
When Yeshua is using language like this, right? Would you classify this? Hold on a sec. Let me move this down real quick. Would you classify this as a clue? As a clue as to who somebody is, and not saying who they are, but giving you a clue as to who they are. Well, I would say this, right? Let's take a look at the definition of clue. Let's go ahead and pull up the definition of what a clue.
Now, a clue. A clue is what? A piece of evidence or information used in detection, right? A piece of evidence or information used in the detection of a crime or solving of a mystery, okay? Now, does this fit the description as to what Yeshua gave, right? Did he give a clue as to who the person is in this mystery, right? Who's going to commit the crime? Is this just a clue? Or did he pinpoint and expose Judas for who's the betrayer? Did he expose Judas, or did he just give a clue? Right now, so now this is definitely a clue. He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. He never named any names. It could have been John. It could have been Luke. It could have been Peter. It could have been Matthew. It could have been any of these. But Matthew's taking the account. He's saying that he who dippeth his hand in the dish with me in the dish, right? Who he dippeth his hand in the dish with me, the same shall betray me. This is a clue. Not a definitive answer. Not a definitive answer at all. You understand what I'm saying? In fact, not only is it not a definitive answer, but we go on to read the account of Matthew, and we continue to read his account. And Jesus never directly pinpoints who's dipping the hand in the dish. Now let's continue to read on, right? Let's continue to read on. Right? Let's continue to read on. After, of course, Judas betrayed him, answered, said, okay, boom. Right? Now we know that he's speaking in past tense right here with the ED. He's speaking in past tense, meaning he's already experienced everything that transpired. So he's speaking in past tense. All right. Matthew is. We go on. It goes on to say, and as they were eating, Yashua, Jesus, took bread and blessed it, okay, and break it and gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body, right? And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, okay? Drink ye all of it. For this is my body, for this is my blood of the New Testament, okay, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. All right. So we're going on to partake in the Passover, eating of the body, drinking of the blood. You understand what I'm saying? We moved on to partaking in the Passover, right? And even then, we still haven't known who dipped their hand in the dish with Yeshua. It still has not been pointed out by Matthew. Okay, Matthew has not definitively gave us an answer as to who the betrayer truly is. But he goes on to say even more. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Okay, they've already, of course, they sung a hymn. They partook in the feast, ate the body, drank the blood, sung a hymn. Okay, and he promised them that he wouldn't be drinking until they reunite. Right. Then saith Yeshua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Okay. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Okay. Right. So we don't understand or know what's going on. Judas hasn't been named. Nothing has been going on with Judas. Matthew doesn't know anything in regards to Judas at this point. He's completely oblivious, okay, as to who the betrayer really is, right? You understand what I'm saying? Because he doesn't know. The clue that was given, he didn't pick up on that clue all night long, right? He didn't pick up on that clue. The breaking of the bread, the dipping of the, all of that. He didn't pick up on a clue at all. So he's not naming who the betrayer truly is, but he did say it in past tense. Now, it didn't peg Judas as the person. It did not label Judas as the one who was the betrayer. That's why they're asking, who is it, right? That's why they're asking. You understand what I'm saying? Now, not only that, you know what I mean? You got to notice, right? Notice that these disciples have asked, Lord, is it I? Master, is it I? That shows two things, okay? That shows two things, y'all. They trusted Judas so much, they didn't point any fingers at Judas, at him. You understand what I'm saying? They doubted themselves before they suspected Judas. You get what I'm saying? They doubted themselves first. Their hearts, you understand? Their hearts were humble enough to ask the hard question. Could I be the one who's going to fall? Could I betray Yeshua? Could it be me? They're going to look, they're self-reflecting first. You understand what I'm saying? As to where Jesus gives the clue, right? He that dippeth his hand with me, okay, in the dish. But here's the thing. They were all eating. They were all eating from the same Passover dish. You understand what I'm saying? Two people are two different groups of people, right? These groups, right? To the group, My thing is this, right? To the group, that answer didn't single out anybody. It didn't single out Judas. It didn't single out not one person, because of the simple fact that they all partook in the same dish during Passover. It wasn't nothing different. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm telling you? So it's about the same. He basically gave him a clue that they were really it was puzzling to solve, right? It means that the betrayal was part of the plan. Okay, you got to understand that Yeshua, that Jesus understands what is going on, what the prophecy is. He has to fulfill the prophecy. So in warning the disciples, that may hinder or block or stop the progress of the Father's plan. Okay, as he goes on to say, the Son of Man goes as it is written of him. Okay, that means, right, the betrayal was part of Yah's plan. You got to understand that from the beginning, it was always a part of Yah's plan. But he adds, right? He adds, there's a woe on that man, never actually naming Judas or anybody who was a part of the 12, right? It would have been better if he were never born. That's one of the heaviest lines in all of Scripture. You understand what I'm saying? Of the Scripture. You got to know that, right? Now, Judas' betrayal didn't take Yeshua or Jesus by surprise. This is the reason why he had to forgive him in his heart, right? In order to receive him, wash his feet, and to allow him to partake in the feast alongside of the rest of the 11 disciples. But he already knew and understood that he chose 11 disciples and one devil. As he said, I've chosen all 12 of you, and one of you is a devil. It's what he pointed out. You understand what I'm saying? But it did take the disciples by surprise. It did take them by surprise. Sometimes the people you trust, right, the most can be carrying your downfall, and you won't see it, right? You won't see it at all until the Most High Yah allows it to be revealed. My thing is this, right? Judas was one of the trusted individuals. Judas was the one who handled the finances, the resources. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay. He handled running the errands. He was somebody who was trusted among the 12. And Yeshua already knew he would be one devil, right? That's what I'm saying. This is what's taking place. Now, we got to understand when people have a misconception as to what the scriptures may be telling them. And you have to come up with your own opinion, your decision here as to what these texts are saying right now. And when I read further down, there's nobody who suspected Judas at all. Not only did they not suspect Judas, but they never picked up on the clue. They never picked up on the clue at all because they all shared the same dish during Passover. There was nothing they can do. But what we can do is we can fill in some blanks. So what do we need to go to fill in some blanks? We're going to go to John. We're going to go to John 13:27, y'all. John 13. Well, no, we're going to go to John 13:21, right? We're going to start. All right. So John 13:21. When Jesus had thus said, he was troubled in spirit and testified and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. Then the disciples looked one on another, doubting whom he spake. Now, John goes on to write. He's going to write personal accounts here. Now, there was leaning, okay? He's saying that he was leaning. There was leaning on Yeshua, on Jesus' bosom, one of his disciples whom Yeshua loved, okay? You understand what I'm saying? Whom Yeshua loved. Simon Peter, therefore, beckoning to him, that he said that he should ask who it should be, right? That he should ask who should be, whom he spake. Who are you talking about? He asked this guy. He asked this guy, who are you speaking about? Who? You understand what I'm saying? He then he then lying on Jesus' breast, saith unto him, Master, who is it? Right? Now we got to think about this, right? Think about this, right? What is this guy doing? He's leaning closer, right? He's getting in. Let me So he's leaning closer. He's getting in. He's really close to Jesus. He's really close to Yeshua. And he says, who is it? Now, is he saying that on in an inside voice? Can you imagine that? Somebody leaning in on you and saying, who is it? Or so who is it? And speaking really closely to you, but speaking in an inside voice or louder, right? Typically, if you're close to somebody or this close to somebody, right? You typically, who is it? So who is it? Right? You're going to be a little bit more discreet. You're going to use a lower tone. You're kind of whisper to get the information. Not only that, we got Simon Peter, who's kind of nudging at him like, hey, ask him real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, not in a very boisterous way, right? Just kind of getting his attention and saying, beckoning on him, please ask him who it is. Get what I'm saying? Now, we got to understand who Simon Peter is. Okay. We got to understand who Simon Peter is. Simon Peter is somebody who is literally, as we read, right? He's literally somebody who is about that action. You understand? Simon Peter is a soldier. You get what I'm saying? He's going to be fully for the protection of Yeshua. So in this scenario situation, I can say that Simon Peter probably didn't loudly ask him, hey, who is it? Right. And try to get an understanding more, right? Because he wanted the other individual who's closer to Jesus or closer to Yeshua to gain the understanding for him, right? So that's why he beckoned and asked him, hey, man, ask him who it is. Because Simon Peter is about that action. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm just about that action, boss.
You ready to go get it?
He just about that action. And so if Simon Peter would have asked him, then Simon Peter would have definitely made a move in order to protect Yeshua, to protect Jesus. It would have been problems. Because not only did Simon Peter was a hothead, but he was a soldier. He was down for the cause. He was willing to protect Yeshua, Jesus, at any turn, at any cost. In fact, you know, at one point in the scriptures, Jesus says that, hey, if you don't have a sword, go sell your cloak and buy one. And right, in which Simon Peter, he sold his cloak and went and bought 2 swords. Okay. And so you know that they were talking military tactics with each other. They're talking self-protection. Him between Yeshua and Peter. Okay, they both were in deliberation about that, right? And how to best protect themselves, and also, of course, how to protect Yeshua. So this is kind of what it is. He knows that Peter is a soldier. He knows he's going to do exactly what he's designed to do. So why would Yeshua, Jesus, tell Peter about who's going to betray him? Because Peter's going to be the first one to take that guy out, to do the best he can to get rid of him. You get what I'm saying? Because he's going to be trying to protect Yeshua. But we got to fulfill a prophecy here. We got to remember that. We got to fulfill a prophecy, okay? And that's what we got to do. Now it goes on to, all right. Now he goes on to say, and he answers him. Yeshua, Jesus answers him and says this. Jesus answered, he it is. To whom shall I give a sop? Right now he's being a little bit more descriptive with this answer. Okay. He it is to whom I shall give a sop. Right. When I have dipped it. And when he had dipped the sop, he gave it to Judas, the son of Simon. Now, we're going to go ahead and get more context. Now, on its face, John 13:26, John seems to be writing. On its face, it seems like this is present tense conversation. There's no past tense real conversation in regards to the individual who betrayed Yeshua. You get what I'm saying? Because if there was, then he would have said that Yeshua gave it to the betrayer, or to the one who betrayed him, Judas. Right? He didn't say that. Like Matthew took that into account. Betrayed. He spoke in the past tense. Now, John is speaking in present tense because he's saying Judas. He gave it to Judas. So he's presently witnessing this take place. Okay. He's presently witnessing this take place and it being in motion. Now we're going to go on to say, because on his face, wouldn't you say that this text right here, right? John 13:26, wouldn't you say that on its face that it is outing Judas, that it exposed Judas because of the sequence of events that took place? We're going to continue to read on, all right, in order to get a better understanding. Okay. Now we go to John 13:27. And after the sop, Satan entered into him. Now, I believe, my thing is this, right? That Judas himself didn't realize that he would be the one to betray Yeshua. He didn't have it in his mind. There was not an inch. And this is the reason why I do, because Satan entered in after he received the sop. After he received the sop, then that's when Satan entered in. That's when he started to gain that offense, right? That's when that took place, okay? Because after he got the sop, Satan entered in, right? After he got the sop. But also, Judas, he had his issues. He had his problems. You got to understand that Judas is the one who's working the finances. He's doing the thing, right? And Yeshua is one of the closest ones to Judas, okay? And another one that can be speculated that was sort of close to Judas was John, right? In which they don't speak very well of Judas after this, okay? So you won't really know, and especially the accounts that was taking place, that was taken, I'm pretty sure a lot of them omitted whatever memories they had with Judas out. You get what I'm saying? They just wrote the accounts that took place. I don't know, not too sure, but there's not much on their relationship in the scriptures to say that, oh, this man's closer to this person, right? But we know for sure that Yeshua was close to John, and John was trusted because he handled the finances for the group. But I'm sorry, Judas. That Yeshua was close to Judas, and Judas was trusted because he handled the finances of the group. So now my thing is this, right? John was also a financial guy. He was also a financial manager. So those two could have definitely collaborated quite a bit, quite often. And this is the reason why John understands what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to Judas, right? He understands a few things when it comes to Judas. He's the one who's sort of the closest in the group amongst them, okay? So he's one of the ones outside of Matthew who's hearing what Judas is saying, because he's at that time close to him. But at some point, Matthew moves away from Judas, and he does not take this account into play. At some point, Matthew is off doing something else, possibly fellowshipping with someone else, whatever it may be. He did not overhear this conversation that Yeshua had between John and Judas. You get what I'm saying? He didn't hear this. He didn't take this in consideration. Now we go ahead and read on to John 13:27, right? This is when Satan entered into him. You know, Judas didn't realize it until the Satan entered into him. And then Judas, of course, Judas, who's a man who believed that Yeshua, right, that Yeshua was approaching this situation a little too soft, right? Judas was somebody who believes that the Torah should have been enforced more, right? It should have been more with an iron fist, you know what I mean? Really enforced, like the Torah. Get what I'm saying? But Yeshua came to preach a different message. Judas was more on the eye for an eye, right? 2 for 2 type of doctrine. Whereas Yeshua was like, listen, forget that. If they bless those who curse you, you understand what I'm saying? Love your enemies. And this right here is something that sent Judas. Right? It sent Judas. Judas couldn't rock with that. Couldn't really get with that. But this is something he carried in his heart for quite some time, but it never really turned into an offense, right? But it gave Satan a legal ground to enter in. You get what I'm saying? Right? And this is the reason why Satan was able to inhabit Judas and get him to betray Yeshua. It was all a part of the plan, right? It was all part of the plan. But this is the radical mind of Judas. He's radical, far Torah, not necessarily considering New Testament, not considering, peace and love. He's more, oh man, handle him. You get what I'm saying? So this is what you're dealing with, right? Now, then said Yeshua unto him, that thou doest, do quickly. So whatever you're about to do, go and hurry up and do it. Do what you're about to do. You know what you're about to do. Go do it. He dismisses Judas. Now we go down to 13:28. Okay. Now just follow me. Just stay with me here. I'm breaking this thing down a little bit. All right. Let me continue to cook with this joint. All right. Now, no man at the table knew for what intent he spake this unto him. So nobody knew why Yeshua said what he said to Judas. They had no clue as to reason why. Come on now, hold on.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Let me cook now. Let me cook. We go down. right? To 29, 13:29. For some of them thought, because Judas had the bag, that Judas had said unto him, buy those things that we have need of against the feast, or that he should give something to the poor, the ones who have the gospel preached to them, to the rest of the congregation, to the poor, right? So they thought, man, he must gonna be running errands. Okay, so Matthew didn't take this account. Matthew wasn't around when Judas left. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take this into account. He didn't write this down. He didn't know this took place. He wasn't paying attention during this time. But one thing he did hear is that somebody will betray Jesus. Somebody will betray Yeshua. They all heard that collectively. You understand what I'm saying? They all heard that collectively, right? And we're going to go down here to 13:30. He then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was night. Okay. Now, and then this is where we pull in John. We pull in John with Matthew over in John 13:31. Therefore, when he was gone out, Jesus said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and Yah is glorified in him. Okay, now we're going to be pulling them together. Listen, my thing is this, right? They didn't all, even though they were all in the same room, they didn't all experience the same thing. They didn't all hear the same thing. It wasn't the same account. They were fellowshipping. There were things that were taking place during a certain time. And here's the reason why I say that, right? Because now if we go back up, okay, we'll go back up to John 13:26. We're going to reread this, okay? We're going to reread this for proper context. Jesus answered he, it is to whom I shall give a sop, right? When I have dipped it. Okay. So in this, would you say that this is a clue? Right? When Jesus answered, did he answer with a definitive answer? It's going to be Judas. That is concrete. You understand what I'm saying? Or did he give you an abstract answer? Did he give you a clue? Right? To look for. You understand what I'm saying? Did he give you a clue? He gave them a clue. He gave them a clue as to what to look for. You understand what I'm saying? This is a clue. He never said it was Judas. Now, what the problem is this, right? We take a look at this text, and I want to zoom in on this real quick. You understand? I want to zoom in on this. We take a look at the text, okay? It says, when I have dipped it, period. Meaning, since that period exists, that's the end of that situation. Meaning that thought has ended, okay? That thought has ended, and we now need to proceed with having a new thought, even though the word "and" is not a very good word to start with in a sentence. It's just not, it's not proper, but it's okay. This is KJV, okay? This is what they do. So the period ends this, okay? When that period shows up, it ended this thought. It ended this thought right here, okay? Just like I showed you here, down here, right? We read 13:30. Right here, right? It says here, he then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was what? Night. You see here, right? This is not an end of the thought. There is a semicolon, okay? There is a semicolon in between immediately out in the words, and it was night. So if there was a period here, then it would be end of that thought. But there's a semicolon here, right? So that means there's a continuation in speech, meaning they're continuing on in this conversation. This all happened all at the same time, right? And it wasn't until the period came in now that we have a new situation, okay? It's the same thing when we come up here. When we read this, Jesus answered, it is to whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it, period. That's the end of that thought. It has stopped right there. And then it goes on to say, right? During this situation, it goes on to say, and when is the key word, is the key words. And when he dipped the sop, right? He gave it unto Judas. Okay. And when he dipped the sop, whenever it took place that night, whenever it took place, and whenever it took place that night, right? This is a whole separate thought. When he dipped it, he gave it to Judas. This is not a continuation in speech. It all did not happen all at once. You understand what I'm saying? So at some point during that night, right, he gave it to him. And the reason why it did not happen immediately, right, is because of the simple fact that this just now took place. We know the sequence of events. He said, "You're going to betray me." Then a few things happen here. Then the disciples looked around. So we got the same account between Matthew and John. They looked around. Is it me? Is it me? Is it I? Then we have some questions being asked from not only Judas, but also from the rest of the disciples, in which he told the other disciples, he said, "Whoever dips their hand in the dish with me," right? But then, of course, we got this account taking place from John, who witnessed it, right? Who the individual asks, who is it? You know, privately. This is more discreet conversation between himself and the individual leaning in Yeshua's bosom, which Simon Peter indirectly may have known. Indirectly, he asked the question or asked the individual to ask Yeshua, right? And now, since they asked, this is where the sequence of events is now. There is no breaking of the bread. There's no eating of the body. There's nothing that's taken account of from John. John has not written it down. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't write this down. It doesn't mean that John did not participate, because, of course, John did participate in account of Matthew. He gave it to everybody in the room. Matthew took that account. Even though John didn't write it, it still took place. You get what I'm saying? It still took place. Same thing with Matthew. Matthew wasn't there for the full conversation, so he didn't write everything down. But they both are on the same page up until the point of the private conversation. Doesn't mean this didn't take place. It still took place. You get what I'm saying? So when he's talking to everybody at this point, when it comes to I have dipped. Now, we didn't break the bread. We didn't drink of the blood, things like that just yet. And he didn't break the bread yet as well. Now he's breaking the bread. Now he's about to start with the sop. You know, he's dipping it, things like that. When he does this, this is the sign. This is the clue. Now, this period, everything that Matthew said that took place when it came to breaking the bread, when it came to drinking of the blood, breaking of the bread, when it came to all of those things, and Yeshua saying to eat and drink, that all took place in between this period. Okay, this all took place. This period right here is where Matthew starts. You understand what I'm saying? Matthew fills in the blanks. This is what happened during fellowship. This is what we did. We broke bread. We drank the blood. This is what took place, right? And then, right, after the bread was broken, we did all this good stuff. And then whenever they were done, whenever it took place, whenever it was, Yeshua dipped the sop and gave it to Judas. And that's when Satan entered in. Now, we know for a fact that Judas himself partook in the eating and the drinking. Okay, he partook in the eating of the body and the drinking of the blood. We know that for a fact. You understand what I'm saying? He partook in it. If we were to go based on John, right, and if you were to disagree with me in saying that this period, Matthew's account is starting where this period is. Matthew's account of breaking the bread, drinking of the blood has started right here. Okay. If you disagree with that, then we have to understand Psalms, right? We need to go to Psalms 41:9. Okay. Psalms 41:9. Psalms 41:9 is going to directly speak to prophecy, to the prophecy that had to be fulfilled. Okay, the prophecy that had to be fulfilled. Let's go to Psalms 41. Okay, Psalms 41:9. Yea, mine own familiar friend. Okay, my own familiar friend, in whom I trusted, which did eat of my body, have lifted up his heel against me. Okay, so there's an account. This right here is prophecy that needed to take place. So we know for sure that Judas did eat of the body, drink of the blood. So Matthew was filling in all the blanks after that period. After that period, Matthew was filling in all the blanks. He broke the bread, they drank the body, they ate the body, they drank the blood, and this is what took place. And Judas was a part of the whole thing. Judas didn't take off until that took place. Once that was done, afterwards, right? Night fell. Judas got his piece of got the sop, and then now he's out. Now he's saying, go do it quickly. and he takes off in the middle of the night to go and take care of business. Okay, now let's go back over to the account of John.
Okay, so now we're back in the account of John. We know that Jesus did eat from the body because Psalms said that this is the prophecy that needs to be fulfilled. Okay, so we know he ate from the body, he drank the blood, and he did not depart until that took place. But now, after this period, after he said, Jesus answered, after he answered and gave this clue, not definitive answer, he said, he it is to whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it. Right? Period. Matthew comes into play. We got the breaking of the bread, drinking of the blood. And when he had dipped the sop, at some point during the fellowship that night, he dipped the sop and he gave it to Judas. Right? Now, the son of Simon. Now, after Judas received the sop, that's when Satan entered into him. That's when he gained the offense. Right? That's when he went out and was ready to commit this betrayal. Okay. Then said Jesus, then said Yashua unto him, do thou doest, do quickly. Okay, now he's dismissed him, right? And then John writes on to say they all missed the clue. They all missed it at this point. None of them saw him dip this throughout the night. At some point throughout the night, when they're breaking of the bread, drinking of the sop, listen, they all are partaking in the Passover. There's no way to really truly know who is who's doing what. Yeshua is breaking the bread and handing it to everybody, handing the blood, the wine to everybody, right? They don't know for sure. But this right here took place, right? He goes on to say, John goes on to say, he then, having received the sop, went immediately out, right? No, I mean, John goes on to say, therefore, when he, went immediately out, and it was night, okay? Therefore, when he was gone out, Jesus said, okay, hold on a sec. Doest thou quickly. Okay, now John 13:28. My apologies. Let me go back to John 13:28. Lost my place for a second. Now, no man, he said, no man, not one man, right? At the table knew for what intent he spake this unto him. Nobody knew what Jesus was talking about. Jesus, you got to understand, he could not give it away. Yeshua couldn't give it away. So as he's passing out the sop, he's passing out the bread, he's passing out the wine, he just so happens to pass one to Judas, and then he tells him, whatever you finna do, go do it quickly. And they don't understand it. None of them understood the intent of what he was saying. None of them, right? And then they go on to say that they thought he was about to go run errands, right? He was about to go run errands, y'all. For some of them thought, because Judas had the bag, right? Because Judas had the bag, that Jesus had said unto him, buy those things that we have need against the feast, right? Or that he should give something to the poor, give it to the ones who have the gospel preached to them, right? That he was going to go and run some errands. That's what they believed. That's what they thought. They had no idea, right? Because Yeshua couldn't give it away. You understand what I'm saying? He couldn't give it away, right? But he gave them clues. But he couldn't give it away. He gave them clues so they can be able to have their mind at ease, so they can be able to enjoy the Passover. You get what I'm saying? He then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was night. Okay. Therefore, when he was gone out, Yeshua said, now is the Son of Man glorified, and Yah is glorified in him. Okay. If Yah be glorified in him, Yah shall also glorify him in himself, and shall straightway glorify him. Right? The little children, yet a little while I am with you. Ye shall seek me, and as I said unto the Jews, unto Yahudims, whether I go, ye cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. Right? Simon Peter said unto him, Master, whither goest thou? Right? Whither goest thou? Yeshua answered him, Whether I go, thou canst not follow me now, but thou shalt follow me afterwards. Okay? Nobody. There's no conflict. This is totally at peace. They're talking and having like honest conversation. Everybody's at peace. After Judas leaves, there's no uproar, there's no argument, there's no fuss, there's no nothing, y'all. It's peace. And knowing for sure that Peter will get busy. You understand what I'm saying? Because Peter is definitely somebody who's about that action.
I'm just about that action, boss.
You ready to go get it?
I'm trying to tell you now, it would have been some sort of form of conflict if they all knew that Judas was the one that was the betrayer at this time in this moment. But you see that this is peace. You see that he's telling them what's going on, that this is going to take place, and this is what's going to be next. And they thought that Judas was going to run errands. They had no clue of what was going on. They were so totally clueless. Okay, now let's continue, right? Let's continue. Peter said unto him, Master, why cannot I follow thee? Why can't I not follow thee now? I will lay down my very life. He said, I will lay down my life for thy sake. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is John, somebody who's close to Peter, okay? He's taking into account as to what's being said. But now we can also take into account that Matthew overheard what was being said somewhat, okay? But John would have a more accurate account because John was right there with Peter, okay? John would have a more accurate account as to what Peter said to Yeshua, to Jesus, okay? Right? And Jesus answered him, Wilt thou lay down thy life for my sake? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, the cock shall not crow till thou hast denied me thrice. He's going to deny him 3 times before the cock crows. You understand what I'm saying? And so John has taken this into account. Now we can say, now Matthew and John are in the same like sort of space now. Now they have more of an understanding with each other. Now they're speaking the same thing because now they're both are probably in the same vicinity, right, as Peter and Yeshua at this point. Now they're privy to most of the same conversation. Is what I'm gathering here, right? At this point, so privy to most of the same conversation, because Yeshua is having some of the same dialogue, right? And there was more that was talked about because Matthew took that into account. You understand what I'm saying? And we pieced this together. We got the whole scenario and what truly took place, okay, on this day. You understand what I'm saying? Now, all right. So now, when it comes down to it, right? Judas shows up, when it comes down to it, right? When it comes down to it, and the betrayal actually being obvious, right? Jesus tells Judas to do it quickly. Now, the others still don't know, and it's for the reasons that I explained to you, okay? They thought he was just running errands. The betrayer walks out, right? He walks out into the night, and it was unnoticed, okay, for what he is truly about to do, what he's truly about to accomplish. And this is what they took, and this is what John took into account, and you know, and what he wrote. They didn't understand and didn't know what he was truly up to. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't know that he was going to go betray Yeshua, right? Now, same thing when it comes to the garden. This is when everything truly took place. Judas shows up with soldiers. You understand what I'm saying? The symbolic kiss takes place, right? The symbolic kiss of love that was twisted into betrayal that takes place. Now, who took more of an accurate account? A lot of individuals took only John and a few others, right? Mark, I believe Mark, Luke, and Matthew didn't even know who Peter truly was. They didn't know. If you go take a look and read it, right? Matthew and Luke, these individuals had no idea who Peter was. They didn't know who Peter was like that. They wasn't privy of Peter, because if they did, in those accounts over in Matthew 26:47-50, they would have named Peter as being the one drawing the sword and cutting off the ear of the servant, as well as Luke says it in 22:47-48, I believe, around in there. They just say that someone who walked with Yeshua, right? They didn't say that it was Peter who did it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if it was because they wanted to protect his identity for any other reasons, that could be something else as well, right? Or they just didn't know Peter that well. They didn't know him that well to be able to say that that's Peter, because they didn't really know him, right? That's what I'm gathering from that text. You understand what I'm saying? Now, Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? You understand what I'm saying? My thing is this, right? When he says that, of course, it makes it plain. It makes it clear. This is when all the disciples finally knew that Judas was the betrayer, that Judas was the ones. They were completely shocked. Even then, Peter reacts. He reacts with violence. Okay, y'all. Let me go and make me big real quick. He reacts with violence, y'all. He reacts with violence, and he cuts off the ear of one of the servants. Okay. Now, the others, right? They scatter and they flee in fear. Not only that, Judas was close enough and gotten close enough to Yeshua, who was the only one who was pretty calm in the situation, right? Knowing that Judas was there to betray him. He was close enough to give Yashua a kiss on the cheek, give Jesus a kiss on the cheek. Okay. Peter, John was in the vicinity. Okay. They were right there close to Yeshua. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way that Peter would have allowed Judas to close to Yeshua. There was no way that John would allow Judas to get close if they knew that he was the one to betray him. It wasn't until after the kiss and they noticed that the soldiers was approaching, right, to take a hold of Yeshua. That's when they realized it's Judas. That's when they pegged Judas as being the one. But before, they had no clue. You understand what I'm saying? But why? Why is this important? Why didn't Yeshua expose Judas earlier? You know what I mean? Now, the prophecy had to be fulfilled pursuant to Psalms 41:9, which we've already read. Now, Yah's plan required it. It required the betrayal. It required the betrayal to lead Yeshua to the cross, or to the tree, okay, and to be crucified on the tree, right? For that led to the salvation, to our salvation, for us to be redeemed. This is the reason why he needed it to take place, the sacrifice to take place. The disciples weren't ready, okay? If Yeshua called Judas, if he called him out at the table, Peter might have tried to kill him before the hour came. You understand what I'm saying? Because Peter was the soldier. Peter was the one. You understand what I'm saying? He was about that action. You understand what I'm saying?
Just about that action, boss.
You ready to go get it?
Listen, Peter would have took him out, and that's just what it is. He would have did the best he could to take him out. As you know, you find that example. Of course, he cut off the ear of the servant, and then Yeshua had to stop him and said, "Hey, I got to fulfill this prophecy." And so he goes on to fulfill it. Sometimes the Most High will send you somebody that's like a Judas. You gotta know this, y'all. He will send you somebody that's like a Judas, that's in your life, that sits at the table with you, that has partaken in all of these gifts and all of these deliverances and works and magnificent things, right? Not because he's blind to anything. You get what I'm saying? But because he's working out a greater purpose for you. He's working out a greater purpose. He's working out a greater purpose through you, right? Through the pain, through the betrayal. He's working out an even bigger purpose. You get what I'm saying? A bigger purpose. This is the reason why he set this up this way. So you'll have a greater testimony to tell. What this means is that, the betrayal will come. Sometimes it's from family, it's from friends, or even a church. You get what I'm saying? Or a cult. Don't be shocked, y'all. Don't be shocked, because Yashua had to go through the same thing. So you need to rest easy. Well, my thing is this, right? He told us that we would have to suffer through the same things that he'd been through, right? If we're his disciples. The key is that you need to trust the Most High, trust his sovereignty, trust that he knows what he's doing. He knows how to turn your betrayal into a breakthrough. You understand what I'm saying? He knows how to turn your betrayal into a breakthrough. If we go to Romans 8:28, okay? Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yah. You understand what I'm saying? To them who are the called according to his purpose. We know this for a fact, right? That's Romans 8:28, right? Now, my thing is this, right? So when did the disciples learn that Judas was the betrayer? Right? Have we broken it down enough? Not at the table, was it? Not when he left, but in the garden. But in the garden, when the kiss of love became the mark of death and of betrayal, that's when they all learned about this. And the lesson, right? And now, so my thing is this, right? The lesson for us is this. Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked when betrayal comes. Expect it. Learn from it. And most importantly, don't let it break you down. Don't let it destroy your faith. Let it push you even closer to the Most High Yahweh. You understand what I'm saying? Your purpose. You need to keep that driven. Keep that focus. You understand what I'm saying? That's what. Drop a comment. Drop a comment below, y'all. Y'all tell me what your thoughts is on this, right? When did he really learn? Do you agree? If you agree with me, please drop a ram or a sheep in the chat. Drop a ram and a sheep in the chat or in the comment section below. Let me know, right? If this was a fire breakdown, drop a fire emoji. You understand what I'm saying? Drop a fire emoji, or drop a ram and a sheep. You understand what I'm saying? Now, how did you handle it? How did you handle it, right? If you were betrayed, I got a question here. Drop a comment. Let me know in the comment section below. How you, hold on a second.
So question, y'all. All right. Drop it in the comment section below. Have you ever been blindsided by somebody, right, who's close to you, family member, a friend, a cult member, or a cult, a church member, or whatever it may be? Have you ever been blindsided? Have you ever been stabbed in the back or betrayed by one? How did you handle it, right? Let's talk a little bit about it, right? So you may be able to help somebody else in their walk, in their journey. You can be able to help them out, right? Let's talk about it. Talk about the situation a bit. Give us a little bit more details on that. Let us know, right? And just, make sure that you like this video, right? Like it, share it, subscribe if you have not subscribed already, or click the notification bell on the way out, right? We got a really special situation coming up here. Now, the War Sheep and Shepherd nonprofit has put up a GoFundMe as well. If you feel led to give, right? We're just looking to be able to help rebuild Israel. You understand what I'm saying? We're looking to help rebuild, of course, on an effort, right, to rescue, to restore, and to rebuild a mission, of course, that is for Yahweh's people. Okay. Now, shout out to my brother Aaron for the donation. Now, this, of course, is a GoFundMe that I would really love to have help in here, so that way we can raise the funds to be able to pour into the community to help it build, right? And this is for the Hebrew community. This is for individuals who keep the commandments and things like that. We got people are out here who are, of course, bashing the community instead of doing what they can to change the atmosphere of it. You understand what I'm saying? We need to pour into change, into building a change, developing a change, as well as, of course, I do sponsor other GoFundMe's as well with the with this nonprofit. Okay, with this nonprofit. Now, whoever you wish to give to, of course, we got Pastor Rufus here who needs help with legal defense. You understand what I'm saying? Whoever you wish to give to, please do what you can to give. As you can see, that myself and Elder Jim McClain were the ones who started this this GoFundMe for our Pastor Rufus, so he can be able to help with this legal defense. Listen, whoever you wish to give, please go out of your way to give. If you feeling led to give, please do so. Okay, of course, we have also Sister Ray here as well, which we have united, joined forces to organize this GoFundMe. Please, if you feel led to give to her as well, her and her three beautiful girls, to help them further on in their journey, leaving a cult environment, leaving the land. Same thing with all of these individuals here. That Pastor Rufus, of course, has got the legal thing. He's going up against Dow in the court system, so it would be very helpful for you all to give to Pastor Rufus in regards to him going up against Dow in these court systems. Okay, and trying to be sure that he can come out on top, right? And that he will come out on top, that he will be victorious. This will be a blessing for him if you were to give to him. Okay. Now, of course, let me get back over to Ray's, where, of course, she's just coming out of a cold environment, coming off of living on the land with her three girls, and she's still looking for assistance in helping rebuilding a life for herself and her three girls. Okay, so whatever you can give to help would be beautiful, as well as got my brother Jordan here as well. Okay, where he is also coming out of a cult environment. He's coming out of straightway, and would love to have more assistance in helping rebuild him and his family, for them to start over and start a new life, okay, after leaving a cult. Okay, so any of this would be very helpful. If you were to give, please do. And I really appreciate that. Bless you guys well. If you want to give to all of them, I'm pretty sure the Father will bless you for that, as where it's better to give than to receive, right? If you want to give to certain individuals, hallelujah, bless you, right? More praise, more honor to you, more power to you. But we're going to go ahead and close this thing out. I thought I wanted to introduce the GoFundMe's, and then we're going to close this thing out with a commercial. And I appreciate you guys joining me. Like I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and holler back at your boy. This is your host, Barak, from the War Sheep Podcast. Peace. We'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? We're going to go ahead and be dropping some more knowledge bombs, truth bombs tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
When the weight feels heavy on my mind, I hear the drums, they call me from inside. Something pulls me toward the open floor, like a force I've never known before. And when my feet begin to move with time, all my troubles start to fade behind.
When I move, everything flows away, like water washing through my veins.
Abaluje mi too long. I me too late. Inu mi dumba e. Yo. Now my spirit's rising with the beat, finding freedom as my heart breaks free.